So, welcome everyone to today's webinar, today's tools and techniques session, which is presented by IIBA South Africa, the Cape Town region. Today's tools and techniques will be presented by Michel Raimondo, and the topic is Beyond Agility, aiming at business vitality. So I will give you bits of information on Michel, which is, Michel is a very interesting person. I got to have a chat with him earlier on, and he blew me away with his ideas and his credentials and his work experience. Okay, so Michel has been working as an international consultant, focusing across Africa, Canada, France, UK, and Belgium. He has been working as an operational consultant for over 30 years, covering business transformation, change management programs, IT governance and strategic planning, portfolio and program management, business process reengineering, and business architecture and analysis. Okay, so he specializes in aligning business and IT goals with strategies, linking strategies and operations. He has carried out assignments in a wide variety of industries, including oil, gas, manufacturing, utilities, engineering, mining, public transportation, healthcare, and insurance. So in addition to his consulting roles, Michel has held several leadership positions in IT departments as a CIO for 15 years. Okay. He is a presenter at conferences and loves facilitating workshops. So he always keeps the big picture in mind. He assesses situations quickly and sets forth the best recommended solution. So he provides his clients with strategic plans and roadmaps, overseeing implementation of sustainable, successful, and repeatable business process improvement programs, business transformation and organizational technology-driven programs as well. So about the topic today. So today, Michel is gonna be showing us a way to go beyond agility and aiming at business vitality by sharing with us a mechanism that can be used to anticipate the fast pace of evolving market needs. Okay. Thank you, Michel. So to give a bit of ground rules for today. So I will be posting our contact details on the chat, and Michel will also be sharing his LinkedIn link on the chat as well if you would like to be in contact with him. So about today, Michel is going to go over his presentation. And if you have any questions, please post them on the chat. Once Michel finishes his presentation, we'll then go over the questions and give Michel an opportunity to respond and answer to your questions. But if we declare that we will no longer be able to take questions, or once we run out of time, please do send us your questions directly at Cape Town at South Africa.iiba.org, or you may be direct contact with Michel on LinkedIn and send him a message there. Okay. So the presentation that we're doing today will be uploaded on our IIBA SA YouTube page, which the link I will share on the chat as well. Unfortunately, we do not send out the presentation deck to our attendees. To become a member of the IIBA South African chapter, please do so by going to the iiba.org and navigate to business analysis membership. We are always glad to have more members to our to the IIBA South African chapter. And if you would like to be a presenter like Michel today, please do so by navigating to the calendly.com link, which I will post as well on the chat. Okay, and for our next event, please keep up with our next event on our at my.iiba.org. That's where we will post all of the events. And also please be on the lookout on our LinkedIn page. That's where we advertise most of our events. So please, if you're on the lookout there, you'll definitely see if there's any event that is upcoming. Thank you very much for joining us today. I hope you are intrigued and blown away by Michel as I I have been so far. Okay, so without further ado, I will hand over to you, Michel, so you can start.
Thank you, Zinomkile. Thank you for inviting me. I'm very happy to share some knowledge, experience, and hopefully exchanging with the IIBA business analyst community in South Africa and maybe from other locations. Today, the topic I am proposing is beyond agility, and I hope we'll have some discussions or questions about the word agility. It is about aiming at business vitality, and the way you will see the way I define vitality. And first thing I would like you to remember is I am not opposing agility to vitality. Actually, as you will see, the definition of that, vitality includes agility, but it goes a little bit further down or further more complete in the business environment. Here is what I'm proposing to you as an agenda for today. How about requirements? And then I would like to talk about the Requirements Management Office. And please remember the first letters, which are RMO, to go with PMO, okay? And I'd rather go with the RMO name instead of the BACOE, because as you will see, from my point of view, the RMO is larger than traditional center of excellence. Third chapter, vitality versus resilience. And then key roles for BAs. You will see what we already talked about with Zinomkile this afternoon, a little bit. And then we'll finish with digital functional economy. Here is a very short view of my resume. I just want you to remember a few things looking at that. I've been a CBAP certified in 2008 in Canada, and I renewed it for just once in 2011 up until 2014. And then I was interested in governance. That's why you can see the ISACA CGIT governance certification there. The other thing I would like you to remember is, and it's all about the presentation here. Of course, we're going to talk about business analysis, but I would like us to have a broader view of that profession, that discipline. And the way I'm looking at it is also because I've been for 15 years a CIO in different companies. So I will tell you some of my thoughts about the role of business analysis within companies. The other thing I would like you to remember is I've been working for quite a few industry sectors, different industry sectors. Here is the CBAP certification I got in 2008, and a very short bibliography, of course, with the BABOK and the PMBOK, but also 3 major, very important books I would recommend you to read. And then, of course, I've been using some personal documents. I told Zinomkile this afternoon that I was a little bit sorry that knowing that your Thursdays are called Tools and Techniques, my presentation will not include tools and techniques. It's more some thoughts about business analysis and the role and responsibilities. So I'm bringing here a post I've made on LinkedIn with a great success, by the way, and what I call the VA Toolbox Map. We know that there are a lot of tools, but I believe that it's a little bit more difficult to see the link between those different tools. Of course, the diagram here is not complete, but it's the center of the complete one. And I hope you will see some links there, which are sometimes, to me, much more important than the tools themselves. So please feel free to use this. Okay, can we go further, Kile? Are we still good to go?
Yes, we're good to go.
Thank you. So how about requirements? Sometimes I'm giving some courses about on business analysis, and the most difficult question you can ask business analysts is to define requirements. We'll get there. What I wanted to say, to show you guys, and maybe you know, and for those who don't know, the Standish Group put on the market every, I guess, 2 years, what they call the chaos report, and says the percentage, the amount of projects that are be successful or that are failing. And believe it or not, right from the beginning, somewhere in late 90s up until today, the percentage, the failure rate is almost the same, close to 75%, okay? And this is one first thing I'd like to mention is regardless the project development strategy, whether you are in waterfall or whether you are in agile or plan-driven against change-driven, it is project failure rate is almost exactly the same. Typical answers to why do projects fail, most important thing to me, it's not lack of executive support, it's not lack of planning, it is lack of good, bad requirements, close to 45%. Very interesting point. It is also some sort of constant. It doesn't change over the years. The main reason why project fail is bad requirements. If we look at the organization of an IT department, like traditional, nothing very special, nothing very new, the very typical organization is governance management, architecture, enterprise architecture, the PMO, okay, and the two sides of the work, basically demand management and supply management. You will see why I show you that right now. Let's talk about the Requirements Management Office. And all this for me started, I was a CIO in a cement industry in 1997. And I got on my desk the first release of, it wasn't a book, it was some sort of a big report called RAD, Rapid Application Development. I read that very carefully and I thought, is this going to solve my problem? My problem was lots of projects were failing. Remember that, okay? And after reading the book or that report, I thought, and my answer was, the answer is no, okay? So let me show you why. I'm deeply convinced that we shouldn't be working only on requirements during project life cycles. We should be able to work on requirements independently from projects. And that's what I will develop with you tonight. And the major reason is this one. Market needs change faster than companies can adapt. So the gap is increasing. Even if you are reactive, even if you have a good responsiveness, being reactive is not enough anymore, because the train is leaving the station faster than you can catch it up. So the second word I would like you to remember for this presentation is the word anticipate. Instead of playing catch up with evolving market needs, why don't we try to anticipate business requirements? That was my second question after reading that RAD report. But for another reason as well, to create distinct and resilient competitive advantages. In my point of view, you cannot really create, invent, innovate resilient competitive advantages just by reacting to changing needs. You are always behind. So now here is the place of that new desk, that new service, that new department within the IT department. And I prefer the word requirement management office because it goes with PMO. To me, it's pretty clear, right? But you will also understand that it's a little bit broader. It covers greater life cycles, solutions. Some people would talk about products today than just the traditional business and analysis center of excellence. So here is the missing piece, the RMO. And one thing I like to show is this one. Requirements life cycle is way bigger, way greater than projects life cycles. So we can see in companies, if we do so, if we prepare people to do so, we can see business analysts working in projects, reporting to project managers. But business analysts should also be working on requirements engineering and being in contact directly with business owners or business sponsors. Very important to me. Okay, this is something probably very difficult to understand. I show you this. From a governance and management point of view, you've got all these pieces, okay? And usually you have the PMO, the project management office, reporting to the company's steering committee. What I propose to do and what we've done, we have implemented in two companies actually, is the requirements management office as well. So let's talk about vitality and resilience. Resilience, it's a buzzword today, right? And I will show you why we should be able to go further than that. If we look at some value disciplines put on the market through a book written by Michael Tracy and Fred Wisma, they talk about value disciplines. And these value disciplines are the major, let's put it this way, three main, let's say, meta strategies. Okay, I'm using a fourth one adapted from Jeannie Ross from the MIT, which is the collaborative platform. The three first ones are product innovation, customer engagement, and operational excellence. This is very interesting because initially those two authors said companies should pick one of those three strategies or value disciplines. And actually, more and more, we figured that we should do all those four ones all together at the same time, and maybe with different weights, each of them with some different themes year by years. But that's the main change companies have seen in the last years. Why do I show you that? Is because I wanted to define agility. And I'm pretty sure all of you guys, you know how to define agility. Let me put it this way. Agility refers to how fast an organization reacts, responds, and nimbly adapts to external stimuli, risks, and opportunities. It is an incremental process to effectively responding to market changes. So the main word here is respond, react. And I would add after the fact. Let's talk about anticipating now. Transposed into a company, robustness is a sturdy and proactive approach to anticipate market changes and to create systems suited to endurance. It refers to the ability of coping with external forces or internal changes. Important. Tolerating perturbations and withstanding or overcoming adverse conditions. Here is the deal. Without having to recurrently rebuild internal systems. I hope you can see the difference between those two approaches. Agility on one side, robustness on the other side. When you are agile, you're able to adapt, to respond, and then you change rapidly, nimbly your existing systems. Robustness, it's all about building systems that can tolerate perturbations without having to recurrently rebuild them. This is very different. So the reason why I don't want to oppose plan-driven, change-driven, driven agility, cascade, waterfall, blah, 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 okay, is because I guess some project, you should look at them with a development strategy based on change-driven agility, or some other project will require more plan-driven approach. And to make the thing a little bit clear here, although there is some overlap, I would recommend to use robustness to the back office systems and to improve operational excellence, and use agility in the front office when you deal with customer engagement or product innovation or some collaborative platforms. And using both, that's how I am defining the word vitality. So let's look now at some key roles of business analysts. And again, imagine we are on a course somewhere and every single BA will think about projects when they want to define their roles. If you ask a BA about pitching his job, right, the word project will be pronounced. They will be even probably behind the scene. I believe there are three major roles for business analysts. Okay, let's go quickly through the requirements portfolio, right? Which is a catalog representing the visible part of the requirements portfolio. And there are requirements that are currently developed, ready. So there are different statuses there, even some that have been archived. Just for the fun of it, I'm presenting here a part of a data model of what a requirement portfolio could be. Here are the three main BA roles. You can see the PMO there, and you can see the RMO. But the major input here is the four pillars within an IT department. And don't look at the one at the left. Let's look at the three first ones we are familiar with. Every single IT department has three main pillars: plan, build, and run. I guess all of you guys, you're familiar with this. What we have done, we have added a fourth one before those three ones, and we call it listen. That's where business analysts and actually strategic BAs are working with some stakeholders to anticipate market changes. This is very strategic for me. And then you've got the project BA. Everybody is familiar with that, okay? Between plan and build. And there is no BA with the run pillar. And actually, I call them the operation BAs. Why do we need operation BAs? And what I explained to Zinokile this afternoon is usually BAs stop working, project managers stop working when the build is finished. We go online, we go live, and then that's it. The project is down, and people go working on some other projects. Wrong. We should keep working on existing or even new business processes, new databases, new solutions. Today, people are talking about new products, okay? To make sure that the very initial business case, the promises that we've made there, will be accomplished, will be achieved during the run phase. And usually, we don't do that. So I guess that IT department, and this is not what I'm saying, but what we all going through in different companies, top executives do not understand, do not believe that IT investments they're having good return on investments, on IT investments, because we used to not working on the run phase. So these are the very short story, right? These are the three main roles of business analysts, regardless of the level of seniority. Of course, as you can imagine, the strategic BA is a very experienced BA, at least 10 years in my mind. So if we look at those three roles, business analysis, it's all about anticipation, innovation. Anticipation is listen, innovation is plan and build, and transformation is about run. Okay, I am focusing on, during the transformation, during the run, I am focusing on realizing effectively the benefits. Very important to me. Here is a very high level framework for the strategic BA. I'm just representing here, of course, the input is strategic thinking or thinking strategically, and it's all about strategy management. So we need to be part of the strategy analysis process, and then the strategy formulation process, and then the strategy deployment, and also the strategy monitoring, okay? You probably have heard that one of the main reasons companies do not effectively implement their strategies is because there is a very good link between strategies and execution. Okay, that's strategy deployment here. I'd like to share with you one thing I really found very, very interesting. This is from the PMBOK. And one of my recommendations, if you allow me that, is as a business analyst, you want to read BABOK, but I would recommend you guys to read the PMBOK as well. And if you look at the PMBOK, you will find 5 main process groups: initiation, planning, execution, monitoring and controlling, and closure, and also 10 knowledge areas, the same way the BABOK is built, right? Please do fact check what I'm going to say right now. Look at the word requirements within the PMBOK. It appears only in one process group and in one activity and in one knowledge area. It's about the scope, and when they do planning, they don't laugh, they collect requirements, okay? And nothing else after that. Fact check that thing, you will find the only place where in the PMBOK where they talk in projects about requirements. Very interesting thing. And this is the third type of BA, the operation or support, focusing on benefits realization map. And this is an example of how a benefit realization map should look like. You start with the product service you are developing. It generates a new capability, which generates expected outcomes. And then you can find some benefits. And those benefits are aligned with strategic objectives. By the way, this is pretty obvious. In theory, not really in practice, there is a direct link between product service and strategic objective. I will be, am I going too fast? I will be finishing my presentation with some thoughts, remarks. In this digital functionality economy, more and more, we are replacing the sale of a product with the sale of the usage of that product. This weekend, I'm going to rent a car because I didn't buy a car. Based on the value of using the product and not owning the product remains the property of the producer and its use is invoiced to the customer. After the weekend, I will have to pay the rent. And last thing is the relationship between the supplier and the customer then extends the duration of the use of the product and no longer for a single moment during the sale transaction. It's called, in management terms, product servitization. Last thing, very important for me, and I hope you will remember this. Here is what I am proposing as a requirements classification. I'm not keen about user requirements, product requirements. You will see some other things here. So I basically believe in functional requirements. So what you will see here are things you're familiar with. Functional requirements, non-functional requirements, systems requirements, and transition requirements. You can find some other details like education requirements and things like that. What is not mentioned in the BABOK is, oh, you can see, by the way, sorry, I forgot the business requirements, the major goals, strategic goals. But you don't see domain requirements, you don't see regulatory requirements, and more importantly, you don't see product service requirements. So domain requirements are very important to me because One of the main reasons why projects do fail, I told you earlier today, is bad or requirements, poor requirements. And one of the main reasons is because, not because people are changing their requirements, but because the business analysts, for sometimes, is the first time they're looking at that kind of problem. So they're not very well aware of the domain in case. And that's for me a very, very big disadvantage. We need to know, regardless user requirements, solution requirements, we need to know domain requirements. For the most part, those are pretty stable. And if you know them, you're pretty well informed on how to ask relevant questions to your stakeholders. One thing I like to hear or to read with a little smile on my face is, no, you don't have to know the domain you are analyzing, but just ask relevant questions to your stakeholders. Well, I don't think it's possible. On the other side, there are regulatory requirements. There's nothing you can do about that. It's a must, period. I'd like to introduce the fact that not the solution, not the software, when I'm talking about the product service requirements, I'm talking about the final products of the company, the final services of the company. They also have their own requirements. And from some point of view, it's called features. And the reason why I'm talking about this is we will be living in a software world. We are living in a software world. Services, it's all about information. Product servitization, it's all about service, okay? So back to the requirements portfolio. We will be selling products features, and those features belong to the requirements portfolio. And we will be invoicing those services to our clients. That's why we need to look at the requirements independently from projects, because we're going to sell them independently from the projects who develop them. I've been pretty fast tonight. So here is, thank you very much for your attention. You can send me emails or even call me on my mobile. And one of my very favorite quote is, change did not begin and will never end. Thank you very much, guys. I'm very much open to your questions if there are some.
Thank you
Hello,
very
Kitty.
much, Michel. I am so blown away by your by the concepts that you've just shared, and the chat as well is blowing up. So I will go over the questions.
Thank you.
You may answer them. Okay. So Shelton is saying, would the operations BA be involved or responsible for continuous improvement and process remodeling, for example?
So, excuse me. So would the operation BA be involved, responsible for continuous improvement and process remodeling, for example? Yes, for the continuous improvement, the remodeling thing, you have to be very careful with this, because it might sometimes bring you back to the beginning of another project. I hope you see what I mean. So the same way, it's not necessarily about continuous improvement. It is much more focusing on reaping what we have sown. We don't reap, we don't harvest the benefits of our new products, our new services. We are supposing that it will happen. And history have shown that most of the time they don't. I hope you're happy with that answer.
I hope you're happy with that answer, Shelton. Is there anything else you'd like to add or any more questions you have? Okay, Shelton is a bit quiet. All right, moving on to the next. So Tarika says, I agree, BAs need to be part of the run phase. This is here where enhancements come to light, improving our customer journey. Working in an agile team, and I work in an agile team, and we are very involved in operations or the run phase. This is great as we are there from inception, implementation, and the run phase. So Tarika is saying that she's really happy with the run
being
phase.
an operation BA.
Yes, being an operation.
Yeah, but not only an operation BA. Obviously, you're also some sort of project BA, right?
Okay. So moving
Another
on.
remark?
Yes, another remark from Mana. Mana says regulatory requirements are often overlooked. A comment that is from Mana. And then Matimo says,
Can I comment on this,
Okay.
Regulatory requirements are often overlooked. If you work in a banking company, you'd better overlook requirements, regulatory requirements, because there are lots of them, lots of them. And actually, you can avoid them. So you'd better know them very well. Okay. That was my answer. Matinu.
Thank you very much for that, Michel. Matimo says, what is the difference between business requirements and product or service requirements? Does it not contain the same thing?
So they definitely do not contain the same thing. So basically, as you probably know, business requirements are the top requirements. They talk about the initial goals that the project should meet, okay? Like increase efficiency, improve effectiveness, improve that and that and that, okay? Lowering cost, finding new sources of revenues, innovate, finding new products, things like that. Like I said, so this is very basics, okay? Like I said, product service requirements, they are features. They are what some software are doing, but not inside the machine, but as an end user. So let's think about this. Like I told you, this weekend, I'm going to rent a car, right? To a very specific company. It's very specialized in that. And what I'm going to use, okay, I'm going to drive that car, but also there is some piece of services, of features, of requirements that are between me and the car. So let me give you an example. The help desk, if I'm experiencing some problem with the car, I know that there is an help desk there. But there is a specific procedure on how to use the car. Okay, I got a specific card to be able to open the car. Inside there is a little computer. I do need to show my password. I do need to show some examination of how if the car has been hit with something that is not already mentioned, things like that. Okay, so there is some sort of intersection, for the lack of a better word, some sort of software, some sort of requirements. I need to do things, and I need to do in certain way to be able to use the car. These are product service requirements. Somebody have imagined that relationship between me and the car, okay? These are product and service requirements. Let me give you another example. When I was living in Canada, they came up with the system called Car to Go. So it's not like the renting the car I'm going to use this weekend. It's a little bit more sophisticated. All the cars are tracked through Google, blah, 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 right? And then you get an application, and when you want to rent a car, you can see on a map the closest one, and you can reserve that. You can plan for, I'm going to use it from that time, or etc. Right? Okay. So this is another way to use shared assets. Did I make myself clear with product service requirements?
Matimu,
are you happy
there?
with this?
Are you happy?
You may want to unmute yourself if you want to.
She says thank you. She says she's happy with the
okay, great.
Thank you very much, Michel.
I can't imagine being that good.
Moving on.
Okay.
Portia says interesting view on the role of BA. A role on the role a BA can play post implementation, which is the run phase. So Duruzile says it's interesting the classification of requirements. So Duruzile is commenting more on the classification of the requirements. And then Edward says, thank you, Michel. This was quite interesting. I enjoyed the session. So that's a remark from Edward.
Edward.
Yes. Tarika says,
Edward, you might be the former IIBA chapter president, I guess, if I remember well.
Yes, Michel, that's very true. Yeah, thanks for having me. Yeah.
Nice to hear from you, Edward.
Yeah, no, same here.
I hope you did enjoy this.
I did.
Okay, great.
Yeah, but I do have a question, but
sure.
It's further down the line on the chat. I don't know whether, so I'm going to let Z just continue with the comments.
Okay, thank you very much, Edward.
Okay, so Tarika says, true, I agree with you, Mana, and they are very important. So agreeing with Mana on the comment regarding regulatory requirements, that they are overlooked and they are important, and can change drastically on your requirements and your designs.
Okay.
That is a remark. Jonathan says, thank you, Michel. So profound requirements engineering is often overlooked. Carissa says, thank you, Michel. So many regards. Thank you for the great session.
Thank you as well.
Regards. So Shilton also says, thank you. Then we get to the question from Edward. Edward says, what can be done to increase the number of BAs who can anticipate business requirements?
Very good question, Edward. Thank you for asking that. Like I mentioned, a strategic BA must have, in my opinion, several years of experience, at least 8, 10, 12 years, okay? And to be more complete with my answer, I would like to add, it has to have a cross-functional understanding of the business of the company. It is very important to have a broader view. So let me give you another very difficult question to some audiences there. When did you read the last time the annual report of your company? Well, very few people are raising their hands, okay? So start from the top. Start from the strategy. Start from knowing the products of your company. Start with knowing the markets. Start with knowing the competitors. Start with knowing the sales and marketing approach. Okay, know about your environment. What is your company strategy? Okay, so this is a strategic BA, and that strategic BA doesn't not only is part of teams that are trying to anticipate, but you will become a very good, very important strategic BA the first time you make a proposition, when the idea comes from yourself, because you have the cross-functional approach. You know what I used to say, being a CIO, there are two persons in every single company knowing very well the company, the CEO and the CIO, because both have a cross-functional understand of the company. Most of the other executives focusing on their domain of responsibilities. Okay, and the next step of the strategic BA, that was one of my questions, is not product owner, is not project manager, is CIO. Okay, so when you want to go there, be prepared to become a CIO, because you will have all the skills and experience to become a CIO. I hope I'm a little bit answering your question, Edward.
Yeah, thank you. I think we are definitely aligned.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, I think
great.
Definitely. I fully agree with you, Michel. Thanks.
Thank you.
All right.
Erika, with a big smile.
Yes, there's another question from Ronke saying, you mentioned the strategic BA is very experienced, about 10 years. So what level would you put the other two?
Good question as well. A project, so I did mention those three important roles, regardless the level of seniority. So you can put on a cross axe there the seniority level, right? So you will have a young strategic BA and with a very old and very experienced strategic BA. On the same part of the project, you have a very young project BA and a very good one, specialized in a specific domain or specialized in a specific product. Okay, the same thing with the operations world. I would recommend to start as a project BA and sometimes work on your operations 1 or 2 or 3 years, because you will see the actual business processes running. Most of us, and when I'm saying us, I'm including every IT person within the IT department, haven't been working enough with the real life. Okay, it's pretty rare to see a CIO going with a sales guy, visiting a customer. Okay, so if you want to become a strategic BA, go and visit your customers. If you want to see operations, go to see on the operational level what people actually do. Okay, and then you can probably switch to the strategic BA. It depends also on your level of education. For example, for me, a strategic BA must have an MBA. Okay, when I got mine, actually an executive BA, I became a different person, honestly. Okay, I've been an engineer initially, a desperate engineer. No, not a desperate engineer, it's not the right word. A stupid engineer, not very much business oriented. Okay, I've been a different guy after my executive BA. Okay, next question.
Thank you, Michel. The next question says, the product service requirement, I presume that is the same as the functional requirements?
Yes, but they are related to a product, and sometimes they're more features than requirements. A feature includes multiple requirements. A feature is something you can see from a product. You don't know the details about how that feature has been implemented, okay? So it's a more higher level functional requirements than just equal. Let's put it this way. But they are two, that's the first, probably the first big difference. The second one is we sell them. We sell them, okay? And people are buying them, right? Let me give you an example with an IoT, right? With these new pieces of electronic parts, you can see how your customers are using your product. You can get reports on that, and you can give them some advices on how to improve the way they use your product. And why do you want to do so? Because if you can improve that, they improve their own internal business processes or even their own products. Sorry, guys, this has a cost. Okay, so I'm going to sell that. You want to do more? Right, interesting. I can give you more if you pay. Okay.
Okay,
Is
thank
that
you
clear?
very much. Yes, that is clear. Thank you very much, Michel.
Thank
There's
you.
just one, we're going to take just one more question and then we'll try and close up quickly. So the question is that I noticed that most BAs are seen as IT related. Are there other functions for BAs within other industries?
So let me reread this. One more question. I noticed most BAs are seen as IT related. Are there other functions for BAs within other industries? Okay. I don't lie, and I'm pretty sad when I see on LinkedIn people with entitling them as IT business analyst. I don't understand that. You are a business analyst, okay? And the second part of the question, there are no IT projects. There are business projects. So you are a business analyst on a business project. And the other way to look at that is there is, unfortunately, still some confusion between IS and IT. So if you want me to answer with that, I am definitely an IS business analyst. I'm not an IT business analyst. I'm a business analyst working on information systems. And information systems, I'm sorry, guys, I'm pretty old, okay? But for me, this is very foundational. Information systems do include business processes. Actually, the three main parts of information systems are business processes, data, and business rules. And sometimes I don't understand why people take off information systems, the question of business processes. I do not know any business process not including information. So we definitely are business analysts and not IT-related business analysts. The thing is, the big discussion is, and we've seen that the last 20 years, okay? Should BAs belong to the IT department, sit in the IT department, or sit somewhere else? Unfortunately, because we are dealing with information systems, unfortunately, or fortunately, we sit in the IT department. But don't be confused with the use of IT. Think about IS. It should be called IS, but commonly on the market, people are talking about IT.
Thank you very much.
Does that answer your question?
It answers the question. Thank you very much, Michel.
Okay.
So that there's so many remarks, no more questions. It is also concluding our presentation for today. Is there anything else that you'd like to add, Ketelo? I can see you're on the line.
I'd just like to say thank you to Michel for an awesome presentation, and everyone else who's also joined on the call. Really appreciate your presence. The information you've shared, I've been making so many notes, Michel, and I'm going to be summarizing it and posting it as well on my LinkedIn. I love the part where you spoke about listening. I think it's an important skill that we tend to miss as business analysts in some cases. I love that it was right at the beginning, and I'll definitely be listening more because I do have 2 ears and 1 mouth. So thank you for that very important reminder.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate that. I hope it was insightful, useful. Unfortunately, not very much tools and techniques, but maybe some interesting. Yeah.
Sorry, you were saying?
I'm good. I'm okay. Are we done, guys? No more questions?
Yes, we are. No more questions. So many remarks. Thank you very much, Michel, for coming today, for having us today, for giving us your time, the information that you shared. To everyone else, you can find the recording of today's session on our YouTube page. Thank you, everyone. Have a pleasant evening.
Thank you.
All right then. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
So, stop share.